Today's September 18th. The Bucks have a day off today before going to Chicago. The Yankees were in town this weekend, the players and the fans. The number for today is 70. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
What's up?
How we doing today?
Hey man, yeah, we're doing good.
Okay, that's it. You just
yeah. It was a little weird day today. Went into work and went to my boss's house and helped him move.
Okay.
But I got paid for it. So
that works.
That. Yeah. I would have done it for free if he'd have got me on a day off. But hey, I'm not going to argue either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, I had a fun weekend. I actually made it back for the game on Saturday. Wasn't sure if we were going to, but I did.
Good.
So would have been better to see a dub.
Always.
But either way, got to go. I really wanted. Okay, so this was my last opportunity. Like I said, we've got people visiting the last weekend of the season, but I really wanted to go anyway. Excuse me. For Roberto Clemente weekend and the setup that they had there, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I really wanted to go, and I'm glad we did. Really glad we did.
Yeah, man.
So Yankees came into town. We'll talk about the series. We'll talk about a little bit about the Roberto Clemente stuff. Why not?
Right.
And we'll kind of take a look at a couple things, including 70 wins. I sent a tweet out today that I'll read. I think I was misunderstood quite a bit. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a conversation about whether 70 wins actually means anything or not. Now, obviously, we didn't finish at 70. Like, there's more to the season.
Right.
But the significance, obviously, you don't. I don't know. We'll get there. I'm going to save it for that, right? I'm going to save it for that. Let's talk about the series. And like I said, I got some people that had words for me, but like I agree with them, and that's where it was there was a disconnect, right? Where I was like, you're telling me I'm wrong, but like the things that you're saying, I agree with. So that, I guess that's kind of where I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just going to take this thing down because I think it's sending mixed signals. So I don't like taking things down, but I just you know what I mean? I was just like, I did this bad.
Speaking of total wins in a season, the season is 162 games long. This is our episode 162. Please send a comment and let us know what our record would be. How we doing? Where are we at? I'm just messing. I told you last time. I said, hey, it's episode 162. That's an MLB season. So I just figured I'd make some stupid comment about it.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I already had forgotten about that. And you know that, like, I don't think about that stuff. Even when it was like episode 100, I remember you saying like, hey man, make sure you say something about this. Like, this is kind of cool. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I think we ended up saying something in the episode. End of the episode. Was it at the very end? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think we probably it's fine, whatever. For whatever reason, I don't think of that. I'm really bad at those types of things, right? And I mean, like, that extends in so many like areas. It's like, I was trying to think of an example there. I don't really know. Like, I'm not going to say I don't care about, but like an anniversary is like, oh yeah, cool. This is the day that we actually like, okay. That's fun. You know what I mean? Like Whatever.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I see it when it comes. I'm not like preparing for it. I'm not like, let's do something special. I'll jump in and do something special. I just don't, I'm bad at thinking of it. I guess that's all I'm saying. So anyway, I should like come up with a stat, right? If I come up with a stat, maybe I'll remember it better. I don't know.
That's hilarious. This isn't even really a thing. It's just I thought it was funny. 162 is the season.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe
it's a baseball
I'm being a little
so.
too critical of myself here. I'll remember all of those things. Okay. All right, let's talk about the Yankees. Well, first off, Henry Davis is back. Vinny Capper goes down. Step one.
Yeah.
There's more to do, in my opinion. But maybe we'll talk about that too. But let's talk about this series because I actually, I'm a little, I'm not going to say I'm discouraged. Like the Yankees have a better roster than we do.
Yeah. And they're playing really well right now.
They're playing well-ish. You know what I mean? Are they really well? I don't really know.
Yeah, they got one of the best records in baseball over the last like 3 weeks or something.
Okay.
They've been playing good. They've been playing good lately.
Too little, too late, guys.
Way too little, too late.
So, anyway, let's talk about the games a little bit. You had Oviedo going on Friday night, but you also had Garrett Cole. I think I remember tweeting something out when Garrett Cole was kind of struggling early on, saying, what's he gonna blame this one on? He had trouble finding the zone, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's his excuse gonna be for today? Is it gonna be like, they were all wearing the same number, they can't do that?
Bro, that's funny.
Okay, so, whatever. He actually didn't make an excuse. He actually said, they said, you had trouble getting, he's like, I had trouble finding the strike zone. And then he credited the Pirates for staying through. They did. They had a lot of backside hits. They let the ball travel. They stayed on it. They drove it. And they got more hits. 6 hits off of him in 5 innings, but they still only scraped together 2 runs. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing where it was like, man, he walked 3, you had 6 hits, and you just couldn't get him across. Now, that's a great pitcher. Right. And so, you know what I mean? You could bend him, but you weren't. And then, it's just one of those things. Oviedo goes 5 innings, 4 hits, a run, walks 5, 7 strikeouts. And it was a little bit of the same that Garrett Cole was dealing with. Just had trouble with location and throwing strikes, not just location, throwing strikes, I think is the bigger problem there. He gave up 2 more walks, but had 2 less hits. They both go 5 innings. And it was like, okay, he only gave up 1. The strikeouts were a little bit bigger for Oviedo. He outdueled Cole here with both pitchers really struggling early. And Oviedo ended up kind of getting the best of that, the result. It's just 1 run different, but like same thing. Got himself into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Just kind of got out of it.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that he needs to definitely work on in the offseason is just consistency with his pitches. Like you can clearly tell when he loses feel for something and just can't find it.
Oh, the fastball command has been bad lately.
And then he finds it for an inning.
Yeah.
And he's dominant. He had a 7 or 8 pitch inning?
Yeah, I mean, like that's
the 4th or 5th inning.
Yeah,
like, that's awesome. Like,
yeah, he's kind of slow getting out of the gate all the time. The run came in the 2nd inning this time. But, we've talked about it so much where sometimes 2nd inning is tough for him, and then he settles in. And that's exactly what he did. Then Hatch came in, gave up a couple runs. And then, obviously, we'll get to the rest of it. Selby and Majinski, clean innings. Holderman was the thing that we'll kind of get to talk to. Peguero, 2 hits. Hayes, 3 for 4. And 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position, which isn't terrible. I mean, the Pirates scored 5 runs in this game without hitting an extra base hit. So, obviously, there were some walks involved, but they only got 2 off him. You know what I mean? And you had the scary moment where Bay hit the ball that hit what is it, Masevich? Is that how you say it? Yeah, I think that's right. Either way, hit him in the head, just like an inch from just getting his shoulder, and
also an inch from getting him in the temple.
Inch in the other direction from being even worse. And so kind of a scary moment there for everybody involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to see that. But either way, seemed to be okay. Thumbs up on his way out. Have you heard anything?
I have not.
I haven't heard anything. I haven't seeked it though, to be honest with you. Like, once we decided we were heading home, you're in the car. It's a 3-hour drive, first off. So we were visiting family when we get in on Saturday, and then go to the game, and then you get home late. You sleep, you wake up, you drive 3 more hours back home, and you know how that is. Like, you're just not in tune to everything. Either way, let's get into that 9th inning. I feel like the whole game happened in the 9th inning. Holderman comes out, not effective in the slightest. He gives up the single. Aaron Judge singles. And then it's Gleyber Torres walks. So you give up 2 hits, and then you go straight to, then you give up the walk. This is where the struggle starts. He gets a pop out. Good job there. And then he walks in a run. Now you have a 2-run lead. You walk in a run. You've still got bases loaded. You only have 1 out. You've put yourself in a bad situation already.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2 hits, 2 walks, 1 out. It's not good. And then Volpe hits a tailor-made, routine double play ball to Peguero, who fields it cleanly, feeds a perfect toss to second, and the ball goes about, what would you give it? 78, 80 feet. Maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe you know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more than that. I am critical of first baseman a lot of times on a hop. Like, you got to make that play. This one was a little difficult. It's a short hop, and there was plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Yeah.
And Bay short arms it, throws it in the dirt, which means the tying run scores. But also the ball kicked far enough away, which you would like to see the first baseman. I'm really indifferent on this one, because you'd like to see a first baseman say, I'm not letting the second run score. Let's block this thing up. The problem is he's also aggressively trying to make the play because, the guy was out.
Right.
So you don't want him to just knock it down. You want to get the out and win the game. So I like him saying, let's win, rather than let me come off the base. And I don't even think he has to come off the base, but let my foot come off the base so I can shoulder this thing up, square it up, and block it. I don't even want the tying run scoring in that situation. Let's win. You've got Holderman, who's already thrown enough pitches. He made his pitch to get out of the inning.
And there is I'm with you. I'm with you 95%. So there is some footwork you could do at first base to where you can square it up and you just switch your feet. The one time it's acceptable, in my opinion, to have your glove hand foot on the bag, because you can get squared up and keep that foot on chest, try to cradle that ball and try to make that catch, rather than trying to figure out some way to pick it, because you're not picking that ball.
Yeah, but it's already on the glove side. The throw's already on the glove side, because Rivas is left-handed.
Fair.
So I don't think you're doing anything different.
I'm thinking right-handed. Yeah.
That's already on the right. It's already on glove side. So there was nothing, he's not backhanding a ball.
No footwork. Yeah.
No, it's literally just.
I got you.
Can you pick a short hop, or it's not it was too far to be just like a pick, right? But it wasn't far enough to be an easy one hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a tough play.
So
it is certainly on Ji-Hwan Bae making the play. And like I said, he had time. The guy wasn't even close. Volpe's not even close there.
No.
It's tailor-made. He could step and throw. Not that he needed to, but like, did you rush it or did you just... And I'm trying to be gracious here. I don't want to be overcritical because we know, like you and I know, we're going to be critical in this segment. So I'm trying not to be like, he's terrible, he should never play the game again. Obviously, that's that's maybe overkill.
That would be
right?
A bad take.
He's got a lot of skills. He does have value. He is young. Let's get all of those things out of the way. There's value there. I don't think it's as a starter. I don't think it's late in the game. In that situation, with Ji-Hwan Bae at second base, going into the bottom of that inning, I'm just taking him out. I'm putting Alika Williams at short, Peguero at second. And I would have said that before the inning. This is not hindsight is 2020. I don't want Bae out there if all we need to do is get 3 outs. Like, I don't want him out there. And I don't care if it's second base or center field. I don't want him out there. I cannot trust him when the game's on the line. He's done this far too many times this year. Mm-hmm. This is his 10th error that we're talking about. And he's got an 11th, right? The next night.
No, Sunday night.
No.
Or Sunday.
No, it was Saturday. And they didn't mark it as an error. I was there, and I was like, they gave him a hit for that. It's not a hit. I can't stand... We've talked about this too, right? There was actually 2 plays at the game Saturday where I was like, they gave him a hit for that. You kidding me? I think one of them was actually for us, and I remember saying, like, I'll take it, but that's an error. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, no, maybe it was Friday night. There was a ball that was hit up the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. That was Friday night. Torres just whiffed.
Just completely. Like, that's an error every day. Hayes hit it. And I don't think Hayes ends up 3 for 5 in that game. I said 3 for 4, but it looks like he's actually 3 for 5. Anyway, he ends up 3 for 5 in that game, and like, that was not a hit. He had, because you look at it and you say, well, but would he beat it out at first? Nope, I don't think he would have. And even if he would have, if it's close enough, like if he's not going a shortstop backhanding and then misplays it, sometimes you're like, yeah, but that's a hit.
Right.
This was just up the middle. And we talked about this. Is it conspiracy? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Not that difficult of a play, Jake.
Especially on that one, because they could be like, man, if he's just shifted, that's routine. Let's give him a hit.
Well, I think it has to be dependent on where you start. You know what I mean? And
no, I mean like to show that banning the shift worked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know they're not picking it apart that much, but
they're trying to raise averages so that they can say the averages are up. I mean, like, I believe that. But
if the shift is on, he's playing right beside second base. He takes 1 step to his left and he makes that play.
Yeah. Either way, that should have been an error too. And
yes,
and the play Saturday night with Ji-Hwan Bae, which didn't hurt. Because the runs didn't score, but he makes a play up the middle. Him and Peguero both chasing. I think Judge is at first. Either way, you weren't getting him at second. You just got to throw the ball to first base. And he fields the ball and he runs towards second. Like, Judge is sliding into second. I think it was Judge. Sliding into second. Like, you're so far away from it. You're almost in the grass.
Yeah.
And then like takes like 2 steps running and then was like, oh, I got to throw to first. And then he's safe at first. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That should have been an error too. I don't care if you fielded cleanly and threw the ball clean. Like, that's an error. Why would you run? If you field a clean ball and run towards first and then throw it and the guy's safe, that's an error.
Yeah.
Because you should have made the out. And they didn't give it to him. So should have been his 11th error of the year, and actually more than that, because I was there on opening day when he cut Cruz off and couldn't field the ball, and they gave him a hit. And I'm like, that's an error. Like, you didn't field the ball. And I think there was another play later that we were like, that should have been an error, and it wasn't, right? Because they're doing this. I mean, I guess I'm glad for Bay, because this would look even worse, but either way, this one hurt, right? The game was over.
Yeah.
The game was over. But while we're on the subject, because I actually thought about this and was like, while we're on the subject, this is another one that didn't hurt, but he's in center field on Sunday. The ball's hit to center field. Now, the ball hit off the fence, right? So this is not a thing saying like Bednar shouldn't even have had that hit on his record. No, that's fine. He still gave up a ball to the wall. Right. So I don't mind the fact that it goes against, that's not even it. But when you watch the play, Bay is just drifting towards the ball as if he's like running to where he's going to catch it on the run. Just don't do that. Just get to where the ball's going to be and catch it. There's nobody on base. There's nothing that you're trying to, not that that would ever be anything you're trying to do anyway, but he's drifting. And then you see about halfway there, you see his legs move a little bit faster because he's like, oh, I misread this ball. Yeah, because you misread almost every ball that's hit to the outfield when you're out there. And then he starts booking it, and then he jumps. And it's like, had you just run out there from the very beginning, you could have caught that ball. The ball hit the fence at about shoulder level. He could have caught it standing there.
Yeah.
Instead, he jumps and can't get there, and it ends up a double. Now, Bednar strikes out the next two guys, and it's moot, right? But it's just one more example of late innings, and you have this guy on the field, and probably my biggest pet peeve about that is that Bay went into the game late. What are we doing? Did we put him in for defense?
Right. He's the one we should be replacing for defense.
100%. He came in. So Palacios stays in. He went in for Andujar. Palacios stays in to play right field. They move Sawinski to left field and take Joe out to put Bay in. And I'm like, I'd rather have Palacios or Sawinski in center field.
Yeah.
Either one of them I'd rather have in center field. I think Sawinski just makes that play. Sawinski's not slow.
No, not at all.
I mean, he's not Bay speed by any stretch.
Right, right.
But I think he also gets good reads. So I think he just makes that play. Didn't hurt. And it's not an error because, obviously didn't touch his glove. If you're just not fast enough to get to a ball, they're not going to give you an error. He's fast enough, but it's a bad route. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if he wasn't fast enough, they can't give you an error for that.
Right.
So anyway.
Just lollygagging.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's get into the next game.
If he does make the play at second, though, we do take the series.
Yeah.
Which I kind of was hoping for.
Right. If he makes the play at second, if he makes that throw, we win this series.
Yeah.
And we get a game that Garrett Cole started, which is, always a little more of a win.
Right.
All right. So Saturday, Ortiz goes for the start here. 4 2/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, 6 walks. Just 2 strikeouts, a home run. Ortiz has been getting some results in some starts. And you and I have kind of hinted at this and not really talked about it, but he's not there. He's not there yet. It's still a struggle. I don't mind that he's up there trying to figure it out, even though, to me, location is something that is acceptable to say, I'm working on this in AAA. You got to have somebody to start. So he's going to have to go through this here. But not a great outing. However, still like comes out of this game. It's a 4-3 game. We're still in it.
Yeah.
It was 4-3 a little bit after he's out. But like the point is even 4-2, like you're still in this game. I'm on the wrong game here. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. No, it was 4-3 when he left the game. Not even 3-3. It was a tie game. Why does it say he gave up 4 runs? Never mind. I'm really dumb. There was 3 in the first. We're good. 4 runs. It was 4-3 when he left the game. That was a great moment for me right there, Jake. Stratton and Hatch each gave up a run there, which is what really, like, what gets me is like Luke Weaver wasn't sharp. I didn't feel like. Now, I was at the game, so I would welcome any kind of, are you kidding me? He went just 4 innings and had 7 strikeouts. I'm not sure that wasn't a lot of us and a lot of, once again, it's the approach. It's the approach to the at-bat. This is what I'm going to blame it on, Jake. It's the approach to the at-bat. In the first inning, we saw a call, and Judge gets a lot of low pitches called strikes because he's so tall. It happens. They've complained about it. They've talked about it. It's been proven to be true, so I'm not going to say they're complaining about things they shouldn't. He's tall. He gets low strikes. We've seen it with Cruz, too. That's the way it goes. And it's not right, but that's the way it goes. But we saw that with Judge in the first inning. And then we saw it with, it was in the first inning with Bay, I believe, right? No. Sawinski. Low, called a strike, rung him up on it. Low. You don't want him swinging at that. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like, there are times where I'm like, yeah, you want him protecting. First inning, that's ball 4.
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to swing at that pitch. A couple innings later.
It changes a little bit if it's 3-2 as well.
Right. If it's 1-2. No, I'm sorry. This pitch in particular.
Yeah, that specific pitch.
It was too low. I don't want him swinging at that. Now, let's talk a couple innings later. We've seen one to Stanton that was low. Called a strike. We saw another one to Sawinski. We saw one to Reynolds. We saw one to Bay that was low. These ones weren't all strikeouts, right? But they're all low pitches that were called strikes.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was about 5 of them when I looked at the scorecard. All in a similar location, all called strikes. From that point on, you have to swing at that pitch.
Oh, 100%.
You can't take that pitch, period. You can't take it. You have to learn that if an umpire is calling it there, you have to swing at that pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And we had another one late in the game where they took the pitch, and I was like, you can't, man. The first one on Sawinski, I'll give you a pass. The second one on this guy, I'll give you a pass. And I'm talking both teams, right? Because this was consistent across the board for both teams. If you look at it, the guys called balls were like 96%. Like he missed a few of them. I think he missed 4 true strikes that he called balls. They were all painted. 2 up at the top of the zone, 1 over on the left, 1, you know what I'm saying? Like they were close. They were they're just touching the edge of the box. Okay. So that's pretty good. However, his strikes were like, he missed a lot of them. His zone was huge up and down. Left and right, sometimes I'm even like, okay. You know what I mean? If it's a breaking pitch, maybe breaking away and you thought it still got it, we see that. But this was up and down, mostly down. Like I said, 5 of them were in the same location. When you got a guy consistently calling the strike low, you have to swing.
Right.
So
and that's the big part of the consistency factor. Like you got to be able to learn that.
Right.
And you got to make the adjustment.
Yep. So anyway, I think some of those strikeouts were as a result of first inning, second inning, maybe bad calls. But after that, bad approach. You have to swing. You know there are going to be strikes. You went into the dugout. You looked at the iPad. You saw that he was calling them strikes consistently. Swing at that.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself a reason to complain later when you can say, your complaint could be, I have to offer it that he's calling it a strike all night.
Yeah.
That's a better complaint than if you swing and miss at that pitch because it's too low, but you know that he's been calling it there. Like, that's a better complaint. I have to swing at that because he's been calling it all night. I just don't like caught looking, you know what I mean? And then just try to blame the umpire. Like, throw your bat out there because it could just be a base hit through short. You know what I mean? I'm thinking of the lefty between short and third. Like, you got to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm with you, man.
Anyway, I just thought that Weaver was hittable. And we got 3 runs off of him in 4 innings. So, we've proven that. So anyway, Reynolds in the first inning, 2 of those runs came from Reynolds right out of the gate. Bay walks for leadoff hitter. Walks. Reynolds first pitch swinging. Cutter comes over the middle. Middle. And he crushed it. And right there, even though you gave up 3 runs in the first, you're like, hey, we're here. We're in it. Let's go. Yankees got another run in the third. They came right back. I just felt like, for the most part, this was a good game.
Yeah.
The problem comes in here. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They let them off the hook. They didn't even get any hits after, the last 3 innings. Pirates didn't even get a hit. Didn't even get a base runner, I think. Just no life late in this game. And then once they get the solo shot in the 8th, 3-run lead felt huge.
Yeah.
Just because of that. But not only that, but maybe in the 6th inning, when they just went up by 2, and that was Stanton home run was early. I can't remember how they got that run. Either way, the Yankees fans took over PNC Park at that time.
And you talk about the one in the 8th inning?
No, the 8th inning was kind of the one that put it away. It was the run in the 6th inning. I got it here. The run in the 6th inning was Judge walked, Glaber doubles, and then you had the wild pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wild pitch, Hunter Stratton, he scores. And when he threw that wild pitch, right after the Glaber double, we heard more Yankees cheers. Let's go Yankees with the clap, like the classic, like thinking you're in New York. It was so like, and I'm not making an excuse for Stratton, right? It just, as a fan, you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a Yankees home game. And the pitcher looks rattled and he throws the wild pitch, kind of a thing, right? Not saying he wouldn't have thrown a wild pitch, not saying that's any excuse to throw a wild pitch. It, as a fan being there, it felt like, wait, what's going on? Wait, no, we're home. And then the wild pitch and they erupt. And it was like literally at that moment, they took over. Which made Katie super mad, by the way. She's like, no, what are you doing? This is, and I'm like, hey, they're fans. They paid money to get here.
Right.
If you want somebody to blame, let's blame people who aren't showing up.
Right.
Because if we had more Pirates fans here, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Let me not stop there. Just for fairness, we're not going to just blame, you know what I mean? We're not going to just blame Pirates fans here. Pitt was playing West Virginia, a big rivalry. And quite frankly, the Pirates are not in a position, like, you know what I'm saying? At this moment, with 69 wins in September, like, if you want to pass the blame, let's not just blame people for not being there, but let's blame the front office for not putting a team in position to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's create some excitement and this won't happen, right? So I'm not just saying, let's, show up and this won't happen. Like, no, put a team on the field and this won't happen too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we flip this thing around and we're in a race, maybe it's a little different story.
Maybe
what
we
I'm saying?
watch the Pitt game on our phone while we're at the Pirates game.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just blaming one subset of people there, but it's a trickle down effect, right?
Yeah.
But it was crazy. And then Yankees fans also started the wave. And I'm here to tell you, they started it clockwise like we were in the Southern Hemisphere. I don't understand why we were doing it backwards. But can we just ban the wave, man? Can we get rid of it?
So they when I was at the game in Atlanta, they started doing the wave too, and the Pirates won. So
yeah, because look, they started doing the wave, and the home team loses both of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that the wave is happening, right? I know that other teams are doing this. I also know that other stadiums it's banned, and you're not allowed to do it. Once they put that net up, did they lose they lost everything. You can't ban it now. If you hadn't banned it, you can't ban it. Because the only good argument you had, other than the fact that it died in the 1980s and it's not cool, the only thing that you have is that it's dangerous. Yeah. We had a strikeout in that inning that nobody knew about. This was the top of the 7th when they're doing this. Nobody even knew that we struck somebody out. Everybody's just watching. They're all, oh, the wave. Katie's over there running her mouth like, it's stupid. I'm like, hey, I'm looking in front of me. There's a couple kids who are really enjoying it. One of them was like an older kid who maybe was enjoying it too much, but he was a kid nonetheless. I don't know, high school age maybe. But like their whole family's there and they're all enjoying it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not going to talk about it now. I got a microphone on Sunday night. I'll say what I want. I hate it, man. I hate it. I'm trying to pay attention to the game. He's about to throw a pitch and everybody in front of me stands up. And I'm like, bro, like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
And then they do it and then they cheer. And I'm like, no, that's a ball. What are you cheering for? Now, they actually did not score. It's almost like 90% of the time when you do the wave, the other team scores. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it when we're hitting at least. Not when we're on the... Because that is distracting for a pitcher. The problem is the Yankees fans started it, so I got no beef. Like, they are trying to rattle the pitcher. So, what am I doing here, right? If I'm saying, like, what are you doing? We're on the field... Well, the Yankees fans started it. So, and there's more of them than there are us, it felt like that day. Right? So, I don't know. Is it okay to do it here if you're trying to rattle people? The thing is like nobody's paying attention to baseball. But you got a net, so it's no longer a safety thing. But we got to figure out a way to, maybe encourage people to watch baseball. Luckily, 7th inning stretch comes after that, which dissipates the wave and whatever. So I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole on the wave, but I am just tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of it.
My problem with so I'm a big advocate for ban the wave as well, and I think I'm well documented saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But there can be a time and place for it, and
if the fans want to do it, can we? I'm with you here, and I know where you're going with this. So actually, go ahead, because I know where you're going with this, and I agree.
Like, if we're blowing a team out, then just have a party. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Do it in between innings. Do it, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm okay if you're blowing the team away.
Okay, so
you can have fun.
For the sake of time in this episode and how far we've already gone, I would say if you think that it's like a thing, then why don't we do it in between innings? Like as hey, we had the pierogi race last inning. This inning, we're going to do the wave.
Yeah, just get it out of their system.
You know what I'm saying? And then we have a time that we did it. It was in between innings. There's music playing. We all did the wave. It was really fun. For one, you're going to have a better wave because you're going to have more participants. There's no action going on during the game, so it's fine that you're not paying attention. That's a good time to facilitate something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it then, maybe it continues, but maybe do it before we hit then, because you can decide. And if you do it early enough, maybe you can, you know what I mean, figure something out there. But either way, yeah, it's just annoying, but we should continue to move. Also, counterclockwise, like, wow, just a big failure. Like, it was just so bad. I think that made it more annoying that they went the wrong direction too. And it was just like, what are you doing?
It's like flushing the toilet in Australia.
I will give you credit. They got the second deck or third deck, I guess, is 300s, right? But they got the upper deck involved too. But it was very annoying. I was trying to watch a baseball game. And I'm not going to be like I said, I'm not going to be the get off my lawn guy up there saying, stop it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Katie got upset. But, you know, I think she was mostly upset with the fact that, like, at that point, Yankees fans took over. And that kind of ruined her vibe a little bit. You know what I mean? And I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we got to be better. Game 3, we actually got a win. Do we even talk about this one? Yes, we talk about it. But before we do, let me just say, because I was at the game, we're going to do this in a little bit of a different order here. We've already gone so far in our rabbit holes. Roberto Clemente weekend. I thought it was really cool to be there. I really wanted to, before the game, out on Federal, to see the 3,000 display exhibit thing that they had set up. It was really cool. I'm so glad. Like, we almost went into a gate, and I said, hey, if you guys don't mind, because it was Katie and her parents were there with us, so the in-laws were there, and I said, if you guys don't mind, I'd really like to go down here. Which, at first I thought, I'm going to be selfish for a second because I really want to see this. But, like, I didn't have to be, because that is right up their alley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they loved it. You know what I mean? And so it was really cool the way that they had it. I don't know if you guys saw anything on it, or if you're on the YouTube and you see, I'm not going to try to show a picture of it actually, because I just don't want to fight with it. But it was kind of cool how they had it set up. Look it up. Just look up 3000 Roberto Clemente display or exhibit. You'll see pictures of it. It's actually from Puerto Rico, debuted last year. They brought it up for this weekend only. And then I guess it's going back to Puerto Rico. I thought one thing was like, oh, maybe this is going to be in the Clemente Museum and this is new. But no, this debuted a year ago in Puerto Rico, and they brought it up. Super cool. I thought they did like some really cool things this weekend to make it feel a little bit special. I guess Saturday night, I didn't realize this until I got there, but it was like Puerto Rico night. And like there was a ton of people there wearing the Puerto Rico jerseys that had Clemente on the back. And I heard more Spanish-speaking fans that night, which I felt like added to an atmosphere that made it feel really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really neat. The 3000 exhibit was really cool. So glad I got to see that, especially if it is something that is in Puerto Rico and staying there. Because I feel like where else was I going to see that? You know what I mean? So that was really cool. But I also noticed you got the Hall of Fame up now. I noticed when you were walking on the Riverwalk, those just the pillars in between the deals have, oh, we won. This is when we won the pennant. This was the year we won the division. You know what I mean? And they had like, you know, the Eastern Division and all throughout all those years, all the things, and like something about, I was like, this is cool. They're giving more of a story of this franchise. And I thought for a long time PNC Park was just so beautiful that it didn't matter. But like, I like that they're telling the story more. There's so many more things they're doing at the ballpark that really, if you go there and it isn't a good game, or you are bored of watching baseball for whatever reason, there's things you can walk around and look at that I thought were really cool. And they opened the gates. I mean, they opened the gates early enough that we were able to walk and look at some of that stuff. It was really cool. It was really cool. So anyway, Sunday's game, they end up getting the win. They use an opener, blah, blah, blah. We've been down that path the last like 3 episodes, so let's just not do it. Bednar ends up shutting it down. We talked about the only base runner that he had. Peguero 2 for 4. Andujar gets a homer, which, man, Greg Brown went nuts about talking about how the ball sounds different off his bat. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Delay had the game-winning hit, the eventual game-winning hit was the Delay double that just hits off the base, probably an out. I mean, like the ball's going to bounce up into the glove. Who's playing third? Peraza. He's going to field that ball and throw Delay out at first, and instead hits off the bag and skips over, and that was the third run that ended up winning the game. Crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you'll take it.
Yeah,
you'll take
absolutely.
It. And so today, they get win number 70. And that's the last thing that we'll talk about here today. We don't have any pitchers for the Cubs series, so that's it, right? This is it. Mm-hmm. We'd like to talk about Nick Gonzalez. It's the second week in a row, by the way, that we haven't gotten to talk about Nick Gonzalez, but I already know we're not going to. I'm looking at the time. I know we're not going to. Nick Gonzalez needs to be in the major leagues. Send Alika down. At some point, we'll talk about this, but in case it happens this week, I said it. I sent out a tweet today about 70, and I said this at the beginning. My tweet was, you know how many people told me this spring, that the Pirates would never get to 70 wins? Right? And today was the 70th win, which is the only reason this tweet is relevant. And the tweets that I got back were, this is basically, it's awful that you consider celebrating this, which certainly was not my intent. Right? I mean, it's never my intent here to be satisfied with losing, right?
Right.
But we paint a picture of what's realistic. And we know that these rebuilds are a 4-year plan. We've seen it. We've talked about it a million times. Look at Houston, look at Baltimore, because those are the two that we've seen the success coming out of these 4-year rebuilds. Most specifically, right?
Right.
And tell me that Houston had success because they cheated, because they were loaded with studs. And it's worked, and they've been able to actually continue it. So regardless of that, right, it's pretty obvious. And Baltimore's just killing it right now.
Right.
But, we've seen this work, and we've talked about it. The thing is this team was not going to be, and this is not something I'm celebrating, but this team was not going to be a team that loses 100 games. This team was not going to be a team that was making the playoffs either. So if you were so optimistic that you were like, I think this team has a chance to win 90 games this year, then I'm saying like, man, I don't think so. This is year 4. That's a little premature. I didn't see it, right? We didn't see enough in this roster to be that good.
Before the season started.
And before the season started, I also didn't see a team. I knew that we were going to have some strides. And so I took flack for saying that I thought this team was going to win 73 games. And I told you, they're going to get hot, and they're also going to be ice cold. There's going to be a good part of this season and a bad part. Now, it looked a little bit different. I didn't expect April to be the hot time. I expected them to play better maybe a little bit later. I also didn't expect that the season was going to go without O'Neal Cruz.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't expect Roansy Contreras too. I'll say that for me. I expected him to be better. Mm-hmm. But no matter how 162 gets carved up, every team, the Oakland A's won 7 straight this year at one point. So don't give me it's a letdown because they started hot. No, because if they finish hot in September, then you say, well, the whole season's a letdown because they could have done that the whole year and they didn't. No. I don't care how it happens. 162, that story is told over 162. Not in 1 month, not in one stretch where they were on pace to win only 57. They weren't on pace to win only 57 if you count that little tiny section. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even saying April, they were never going to be that team coming out of April. And we had so many conversations about that. Like, I don't think they can continue doing this, can they? But let's just, and we made a statement on this show. Let's just be excited about what we're seeing, because we know it isn't going to last. Let's be excited about it. They're playing really well. We knew this was going to happen. We did not think it was going to happen in April. And we also didn't think it was going to last. Right. But I took a lot of flack for saying I thought they were going to win 73 games. You're crazy, they told me. You're stupid. This team's a 150 loss team. And all I was saying was, hey, we're here at 70. This is, this is what we expected. Am I excited about it? No. This wasn't I even questioned. Do we say we told you so? And I said we because I didn't mean me and Jake. I meant the fans who were being realistic about it. Mm-hmm. We knew what this team was. And yes, it's not a great team. 73 wins is not something to be excited about. No. In any way, shape, or form, 73 wins is not the answer. It's not something to be excited about. It's not something to celebrate. It is something to say yeah, I get it. I don't think it's not a satisfied thing. We're not satisfied with 73. We want this team to be a good team, obviously.
Yeah, but you got to take strides for that. You're not just going to all of a sudden be a better team when you're doing it in a rebuild fashion. Sure, if you're a big market team and you go and spend a bunch of money, or I'm not going to say that. Or if you're a big market team and you go spend the right money, you can be a good team. But that's not what this franchise was doing. This franchise is they're in a rebuild. Rebuilding. They're in a rebuild. They're not in a revamp. You know what I mean? We don't have the money to just say, hey, I'm going to make this team good in a year and I'm going to buy 24 different players.
To me, that doesn't even matter, because the Boston Red Sox are showing us all that you can't do that. You can't just spend money and go be good again.
Right.
You can't. It's not sustainable.
Sustainability is a whole different topic. I'm just talking about from year to year. You can, if you can figure out how to spend the money correctly. I'm not just saying just throw a bunch of money. I mean, the Mets obviously threw a bunch of money up in there.
Yeah. Brian Kenny did a thing about Boston this week after they fired Chaim Bloom. I encourage you. It's on YouTube, but it was on MLB Now. It's MLB's YouTube. I encourage you to go look at that essay that he did, because he basically said, he disagrees with that. You have to take a step back at some point. You can't just keep doing this. And you can, either way, go watch that. And we don't have to go down that road here. But to take everything else you said, though, Baltimore's year 4 of their rebuild was 110 losses. Now, I'm not saying we're better off. I'm not saying that, because there's so many more elements to this. Are we loaded as much as they are in prospects? Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Probably not. They were loaded even then, and they continued to load up. And maybe an advantage of them is that they got that 110 and then they got another great draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Are we actually worse off? I'm obviously saying that tongue in cheek and hilarious, but and I said that last week too. Shouldn't we be trying for another? No, you don't tank. You try to win games, right? And so either way, all I'm saying is that we got to 70, and the whole time I assumed we were going to get to 70, and I'm not crazy for assuming that. That's all I was saying, right? Now, is there a significance to 70? You're likely getting 2 more wins, right? Which means you're increasing your win total by 10 years as you're, progressing forward. 10 years.
10 games.
10 games. 10 wins. 10 years. Yeah. 10 wins. You're increasing.
Yeah.
There is some significance when you're looking at big picture, not when you're looking at 2023. When you're looking at 2023, there's no way to spin it. It's unacceptable. If you're only looking at 2023, it's just another losing season and it doesn't matter. And I kind of said to you when we were on the phone before this, when you were driving home, I don't know if I care. If you're not a 500 team, I don't know if I care that you lose 89 games or you lose 100. I'm not sure I care because I'm somebody who's going to watch the games either way. I enjoy the game of baseball and I have a favorite team, and that favorite team happens to be the team that I grew up right next to and watched every day, and that's the Pirates. And so I'm going to root for them and I'm going to watch baseball because I'm a baseball fan and that's my team. And I don't care, right? Obviously, I want them to be good, but I'm also going to watch either way. And if I could just have them be good tonight, I'll have a better night. But you know what? If they lose, it's fine too.
Yeah.
Because I got to watch baseball. And these people that are saying like, thanks for ruining my night. Like, guys, maybe just don't put that much into it. It's a sport and it's fun to watch. But if you're a casual fan that only wants to watch a good team, you're not watching if they're losing 89 games and you're not watching if they're losing 105. You're just not watching. So I don't know that it really matters. We're not a good team right now. Listen to guys like us who watch every game and actually pay attention to some players, and there are way more smarter guys out there than you and I. But if you want to know if they're going to be good, listen to us instead of paying attention. We think they're going to be. Anything can happen, but we see progression. And 70 wins or 72 when it gets there is double-digit increase in wins, which shows some sort of progression. And I said we used the Orioles. They actually went down in year 4 before they got better. And then 2022, they were above 500, and now look at what they're doing, right? They're already at 92 wins, and we're not done. And I'm not, like I said, we might not be as loaded as they are. We thought you're kind of hoping, but that's where our criticism is going to come in. Guys, we will criticize. Next year, they should be aiming for better than 500. They should always be. The players and the coaches are always aiming for that. But
yeah, 100%.
But when you're looking at the roster, you know that like, well, you're not going to do anything stupid to, the front office guys. You don't want them to do any stupid things to ruin the future, right? We have our criticisms there, guys. I'm not talking about everything here, right? We could be looking at better. You know what I'm saying? There's a path. We saw guys drafted after us that are better. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
we get that. We can have all of those discussions another time. But I think there's a little bit of significance to it. Like I said, not anything to be excited about. But when you look at the realistic aspect of it, does this move any kind of needle for you? Like I said, I'm a little bit indifferent. I kind of thought that we're going to be bad this year, 73 wins. Not going to be anything great. We'll watch individuals do better, but I'm not looking to really say like expect this team to win until next year. And I'm still not sure. Like I'm hoping for a wild card. You know what I'm saying? And that's only because they added another wild card. But that's next year. Does this do anything for 2023 for you? Does it move any kind of needle? Do you say, yeah, I like the significance of the number 70 or not?
No, 70 is not a big thing for me. It's just seeing. It's not like if I was going to be consumed with that, I would have been consumed with it at win 63.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to say like, oh, we avoided 100, dude, I don't care about I don't care about avoiding 100. I care about avoiding being a losing team.
Right. And while I say like, I guess 72 would mean more to me than 70. You improve by double digits in wins because we're watching progression. Then you see that, okay, we're 10 wins better. And that's an improvement.
Sure.
We understand where we're at as an organization. We understand where we're at in this rebuild. Step forwards or step forwards.
Yeah.
But that's it. But that's it. I'm not celebrating it.
Right. You already know at this point. I mean, we're 70 and 80. You already know at this point how almost impossible it is for this team to be over 500.
Right.
So knowing that and accepting that, I'm not saying you're satisfied with it. You're not satisfied with it. You're not, right? In a nutshell. And even if they do make a great, if they make a great run, it's like, yeah, we had a great April. We had a great finish to the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you also had a lot of throughout the summer. You know what I'm saying? So if you're somebody who's, banking your happiness on wins, well, I'm sorry. You should probably go like another team first off. And I would prefer them to be a team that's not a small market because you're going to have a lot of bad years.
Yeah.
Also, don't let your happiness be dependent on what a baseball team does, right? But you want to see that team play well. That's where I'm at. If I'm going to watch this team anyway, can you just say like, yeah, we had a rough patch this year, but for the most part, they were a good team. That's not this year, right? We're not acceptable there, but like when you get to a point where you're saying like, just wait, like, because next year, I'm telling you right now, like you're going to hold this team to a higher standard because you should. I have been very patient. And for those of you who aren't patient with Ben Cherington, that's fine. But I'm giving him 4 years. And then I'm saying next year, I expect to see this team be better. And I do not want to say, well, they will because they're young guys and they improve. That's what I thought would happen this year.
Right.
Well, young guys are going to improve. They're going to be better. Naturally, you will get more wins because guys are going to have more experience. They're going to be better. That doesn't count for next year. And we saw that article with Justice where it was like, well, there's guys that are already here that are going to be better next year, which means this team's going to be, that's not enough. That's not enough for 24. You better start. There's guys out there. We don't want to say anything right now, right? We're going to talk about this in coming weeks, and we're at our hour right now. So I'm not going to sit here and say, let's talk about who they could get. We'll talk about that.
Right.
We've got a lot of these to do. But there will be guys that you can go out and you can make this team better, as well as Endy with a full season. Cruz is back. Peguero got a lot of experience this year. Maybe he fits into that spot that maybe I thought Castro could have. You know what I mean? Maybe he does more than that. Maybe you actually call Nick Gonzalez up and let him play baseball here and let him get experience. Maybe Sawinski does the same thing he did this year and that from last year and make strides to be better. If he does that again next year, now we're talking about a guy who is very valuable, not just like phantomly valuable, if that's what you guys want to think. Right. 25 homers, 800 OPS plus, or 800 OPS plus over the league average. He's already a good player, but we know the faults. We know that it's ice cold for 2.5 weeks or longer. And so maybe he balances some of that out and avoids the long, struggle. Brian Reynolds has a full season. Yes, those things can make a team better, but that's not it. If you're going to make any kind of waves and going to make this team better, then go make them better. Yeah. Add to that. First base is a problem. Starting pitching is a problem. Address it. That's all. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore had to add a few pieces. It's not like they just
like I said, they're also loaded, and it's
right.
Their prospects are all working, and that's going to be the next thing for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Cherington, like you've got to show development, you've got to show, fruits of that. We've got to see Termar take off as he has been. So, but it's got to keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've got a lot of guys who are stalling out, and we can't have that. Got to see guys. Right. Bubba Chandler's made good moves. Solomito's made. Let's see that continue.
Yep.
And get better and better and better and better. We have to see that. Like, is 70 wins a big number? It's not. But if you're counting steps, it is one more step. Yeah. You can't get to you can't get to your daily steps on your watch without getting those ones in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get those first. And for us, Is it, like I said, is it any kind of satisfaction? No. But every story has, every story has a story. It's not, books aren't 200 pages
of one chapter.
Of just like, if every book went straight there, they'd be 10 pages. I actually might read that book. But it's not going to be a good book, right?
Right.
So the point is it is a step. And that's about it. So if you're listening to this and you were one to call me out for celebrating, or I had 2 people say, let's start the parade. And I was like, bro, that's not my intent of this.
Yeah.
It's literally just to count the step. All I was doing was saying, everybody told me I was crazy. And like, no, I'm not satisfied. And yet here we are. Like, you guys are just ridiculous.
It's just checking boxes.
You're just checking boxes. Next year, I want to see more than this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see more this year, but I was realistic about it. Maybe I got the wrong hat on. I got a hat, right? I got that hat that says real. Just, look at the roster, man. Did you think it was, you know what I mean?
Right.
If you thought it was going to be worse than this, then you're not looking at the same roster than me. If you thought it was going to be better than this, then you're not looking at the same roster as me. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. I had to clear the air on that. We were going to talk about this anyway.
Right.
We were going to talk about this anyway. I just had a little more fuel to go with because, and I'm not offended, right? Matter of fact, one of them came back with great points. If they would just left "you suck" off the end of it, it would have been like, I actually agree with everything other than "you suck," right? I agreed with everything else.
Yeah.
So that's all. That's all. I'm just not gonna, get on Twitter wars. It's not worth it.
Right.
Or X wars, I guess.
X wars.
I don't really know. Listen, guys, we're Pirates fans.
Yep.
I love the Pirates because I grew up watching the Pirates. I want the Pirates to do well.
100%.
I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to be nothing but garbage, trash, hating on the Pirates. I'm doing a Pirates podcast because I like the Pirates, not because I really want to connect to the internet and dog everything in the world. If I didn't want the Pirates to do well, then I just wouldn't have a Pirates podcast. Right? And if you're somebody out there who doesn't want them to do well and you're only focusing on all the garbage, negative stuff, you probably don't have a Pirates podcast. And if you do, or did, you probably, feel like it's time maybe to stop. I mean, what else do you want here? I can be realistic.
Right.
And I can complain about things that are struggling. But like, if you're going above and beyond talking about how terrible everything is when it's not, and I just mean specific situations here, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just want to call things out just because you like calling things out, if you just want to be a complainer to be a complainer, that's just not my game. Like, you're fine to do it. That's fine. That's just not what I'm here to do. I'm here to call out things that aren't good. I'm here to praise things that are. 70 wins doesn't fall into either one of those.
Right.
It's just a number, and it happened to happen today. So I talked about it because that's what we do.
Right.
I know I've gone long on this, but I can't say enough. I can't say enough because there's so much more I could say about it. And maybe I'm just wording it differently and saying redundant things, but that's fine too. Because I could say more and I choose not to. It's not worth it. But either way, you know what I mean? I just like, the thing is like, share your opinion, but just, you don't have to tell people that they're lousy.
Right.
It's not helpful for anything. I can't imagine it really makes you feel better. So, stop with that stuff. And also, I like you guys. I do. I like having conversations. I like having conversations with people who disagree with me. I don't think that those people are stupid for thinking that we were going to lose 100 games, because that's fine. You just do you, man. But for the people who called me stupid is the only reason I brought it up. Like, I'm not stupid either. So let's just have conversations. We can disagree and it can be good. Yeah. We're all going to hit and miss on our player projections. We're all going to do it.
Yep.
All right. Done defending myself. You got anything here for the close of this thing? We're obviously over, but I mean, we've been under. So deal with it.
Yeah.
If you don't want us to go long, you've already turned this off, right? I say that all the time.
Yeah, man. I don't have much to add on to that. I think you've said it all. We've cleared the air.
Yeah. Cubs just got swept by the Diamondbacks. So let's kick them while they're down. They've lost 5 in a row. Let's go ruin their fun. They're in the playoff picture right now. And what we can do is we can beat up the Cubs and let the Reds get in, and then we play the Reds. Let's beat them up and then let whoever, whether it's the Cubs back or San Francisco, like, who cares? Let's just beat those guys up. Get hot, have a little bit of fun at the end of the year, win a couple games. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks. I got nothing, man.
Sorry, guys. I'm not cranky. This is all fine. I love you guys. Thanks for talking to us. If you disagree or agree with me, send us something on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, comment. Do all those things. It's fun. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!